Welcome back to Your Fantasy Nerd, where today we're going to be talking about our running backs for our second version, July-August. So let's get right down to it. I'm going to read off the top 10. At number 1, no surprise, no change here, Adrian Peterson. Number 2, Jamal Charles. Number 3, Marshawn Lynch. Number 4, LeVeon Bell. Number 5, Eddie Lacy. Number 6, LaShawn McCoy. Number 7, Jeremy Hill. 8, C.J. Anderson. 9, Arian Foster. And at number 10, rounding it out, is DeMarco Murray. So first guy we're going to talk about here is at number 4, LeVeon Bell, who, if you didn't hear, his suspension is now reduced to 2 games. How does that affect how you rank him?
It moved him up a spot in my rankings. He's number 4, and I think that's huge for him because he gets a game back. And I think LeVeon Bell's, I think he's the best running back. I think he would be number 1 probably going in if he wasn't suspended at all because Adrian Peterson was off the whole year. I love LeVeon Bell. He's a stud. He's going to be more involved in the passing game too than years prior. So I think that he's going to have a very big year in the suspension. If he wasn't suspended, I'd have him 1 or 2 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's a great talent. I think that what he does in that offense, he's probably in the best situation for running back because he can catch passes. I believe he had 850 passing or receiving yards last year, which is just ridiculous from a running back. So if you can get around that kind of those numbers, the way he was the number 1 running back last year in fantasy. So definitely the 2-game suspension hurts him slightly, but don't knock him down a ton because you can have someone fill in for him, and then in week 3 just take off with LeVeon Bell. So I have him at number 4 as well. And then the next guy we'll talk about at number 8 is C.J. Anderson.
I have number 8 in my personal ranking, and I think that's a very good spot for him because I think he's not a top-end running back, number 1, but I think that he's right on the fringe of being great because I think he can have a very good year for Denver. I think they showed what he could do last year, but I don't know how consistent he'll be going from last year into this year because, everyone thought Monty Ball was going to be some huge talent last year, and he really didn't perform well. So I wonder how C.J. Anderson's going to do. He's actually pretty good out of the backfield catching the ball. I just don't know how many touchdowns he'll get because he's not a huge running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that point about Monty Ball is kind of the reason why I have him at 8 as well, but I've seen people ranking him inside their top 5, and then also people ranking him outside their top 10. I'm somewhere in the middle because I don't want to take a side because I think that there's definite upside here with C.J. Anderson, but I just am really nervous that Denver running back, while John Fox is gone, so he loved to use different running backs. I don't know how Gary Kubiak is going to choose his running back. I mean, it's his first season. He might end up going back to Monty Ball. We never know. But C.J. Anderson at 8, I think you don't want to take him with a top pick, but maybe like early second, late first. I think is safe for him there. Okay, and now the final guy we'll talk about is DeMarco Murray at number 10.
I think he got into a worse situation than he was last year. He's going from the best offensive line to a mediocre offensive line. They lost Evan Mathis, who's a stud. So I don't know how he'll perform considering they have 2 other good running backs in Matthews and Sproles. Sproles will be the 3rd down back, so it'll be interesting to see how they'll utilize all 3 running backs because Ryan Matthews actually got a pretty big contract for a guy who will be technically the 3rd running back in that offense, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, if you watched our Bust Overvalued show, we actually had Murray on this list, and I think for good reason. I think if you look at that team, Darren Sproles really took a lot away from LaShawn McCoy last year, who was being drafted as a top 3 running back. So if you look at it like that, I just think while Murray probably is a slightly better back for that offense, McCoy was more up and down. He liked to go east and west, whereas Murray's straightforward. I still think that that offense is really going to have problems figuring out who they want to give the ball to every time. Murray will not be the lead back every time. I think Sproles gets in there on 3rd downs. And then, as you said, Ryan Matthews is a feasible player. I just think he's someone that's going to be in there a lot, and I don't know if Murray's going to get the carries enough to warrant being an RB1, but I have him at 11, so on the fringe RB1, RB2 range. So now moving on to our 11 through 20, we've got at 11 Matt Forte, number 12 Justin Forsett, 13 Melvin Gordon, 14 Alfred Morris, 15 Frank Gore, 16 is Carlos Hyde, 17 Joseph Randall, 18 Lamar Miller, 19 Latavius Murray, and rounding it out at 20, the rookie Tevin Coleman. So the first guy we'll talk about is at number 12, Justin Forsett.
He's number 12 on my ranking along with yours. I think this is a very good spot for him because he's not a top running back fantasy-wise, but he did have a great year. Was he top 10 he finished last year?
I believe so, yeah.
And he's got very good talent. I mean, I don't think they're going to throw the ball as much. They lost Torrey Smith. I don't really know who they're going to throw to this year. So I think they're going to have to run the ball a lot this year. So I think that he's going to have a pretty good year. And I think that he could end up being higher than a number 12 going into the season. The rankings could change a little bit. I think he's got very good talent. So I look for him to have a pretty good year.
Yeah, the wide receiver core is in a lot of question marks right now. They've got the rookie Perriman and Steve Smith, who's definitely getting up there in age, so you never know with him. But I definitely think they're going to run the ball a lot. And Joe Flacco, while he does like to throw it deep, he likes to check off to his running backs. Ray Rice used to catch balls out of the backfield. So if you looked at last year, Forsett caught a ton of balls. And now with the addition of Mark Trestman, there's no way he doesn't have any more catches. There's no way he gets less. So I love Justin Forsett. I think if you can take him as your RB1, this is if you take probably 2 wide receivers in the first 2 rounds, I think he's a great value in the 3rd round. The next guy is now Frank Gore at 15.
He's 13 in my rankings. I think that he's going to fill exactly what Amon Bradshaw did, and I think he'll do a better job with that. Amon Bradshaw was having a very good year before he got injured. And, I mean, a running back, they're going to have to use a running back. They can't just throw all day. They got amazing targets, which everyone will think that they're going to be throwing, and they can use that disguise. They ran a lot of draw plays with Amon Bradshaw. He's not a fast running back. He's a power guy, runs north and south. So I think that Gore's going to do the same. He's an experienced runner. And I look for him to have a lot of touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I've got Gore at 17, so I'm pumping the brakes a little bit here, but I still think he's in a great position. I think while running backs definitely falter after their age 30 season, I believe he's 32, there hasn't been a lot of talented running backs, but in a situation like this, I think Indianapolis is going to give him the ball a ton. I mean, if you look at that backfield besides Frank Gore, I mean, I don't even know who else is back there. So it's really just him, and that's it. I think they have Boom Herron, maybe. I think is the only other guy there. So I think Frank Gore's in a great situation. He's going to get the goal line work. I think he's possibly in for 10-plus touchdowns, 900-plus yards, which is good value from an RB2. And then the final guy we'll talk about inside our top 20, Lamar Miller at 18.
He's number 20 in my ranking personally. I mean, you don't know what to expect from this guy. He had weeks where he looked like a running back who could be a number 1 running back on a lot of football teams and definitely in fantasy. But there's weeks where he kind of struggled, and you know, he's very consistent. He had weeks where he had negative yards running, and that's not all on him. That's on the offensive line too. But I mean, I don't think he's a number 1 running back. I think he's a low-end running back too into a flex position. So I'm hesitant on him just because I don't think he's consistent.
Yeah, I actually have him at 18, so I think he's a fine running back too. The only question I have with him is whether or not Jay Ajayi actually steals any carries. There's talks that maybe Ajayi's going to come in there and steal some work, maybe steal the starting job, not right away, but might do a Jeremy Hill where he just takes over later in the season. So Lamar Miller, he's a decent talent, but I think he's capped at RB2. He was the 9th best running back last year, but he had all the opportunity in the world. Moreno was injured a lot, so I definitely think that this offense is much better. They're going to pass it a lot. They're going to look for their weapons, I think, on the outside, so that limits Lamar Miller slightly, and that's why I have him at 18. All right, now moving on to our 21 through 30. These are guys you're going to find in the 5th, 6th round, your flex options, basically. So 21, Jonathan Stewart. Number 22, Mark Ingram. 23, Todd Gurley. 24, LeGarrette Blount. 25, Andre Ellington. Number 26, Joyce Bell. Rashad Jennings at 27. TJ Yeldon, 28. CJ Spiller at 29. And Amir Abdullah, the rookie, at 30. So the first guy we'll talk about, we haven't talked about him much at all, is Jonathan Stewart at 21.
He cracked my top 20. He's number 19 on my ranking. You know, he had a very good, strong end of the season with the Panthers, and I look for him to be consistent again. I think that he could actually be a running back number 2 for your team, more so than a flex.
Yeah, personally, I actually don't like Jonathan Stewart all that much. I have him at 25. Reason being, he's in a situation that could really benefit for him, but he can just never stay on the field. I mean, just look at what he's done all season. He hasn't been on the field all season, I believe, since his rookie year. So he's also got Cameron Artis-Payne in the backfield, the rookie from Auburn. So that's a question mark. I just don't love the situation he's in because I don't like looking at my phone 5 minutes before the game start on Sunday and seeing that, oh, Jonathan Stewart's out of your lineup. You never know with him, so I don't want him on my team. He's a flex guy for me, so I'm at 25, relatively low. And then the next guy we'll talk about is the rookie, TJ Yeldon from Jacksonville.
I have at 25 in mind, and I think that he could be a lot higher if he was on a different team in a better situation because I think he's got good talent, but I don't think Jacksonville's offense will be good at all. So I think that you look for him to I think that he could be a flex player in some weeks, and depending on the matchups, but I think that you put him on your bench, see how he does in that offense, and see how he reacts. And I think that he has got potential to be in the top 20. I don't think it will happen this year, maybe not even next year, but I think if Jacksonville's offense blooms into something, because I think Blake Bortles has got good talent. I think that you could see him producing very well in that backfield.
Yeah, I have him at 30. If you just look at rookie running backs in general, they're not all that good, especially in a situation where he's in Jacksonville. I mean, he was taken in the first round, but I just think in a bad offense, when was the last good running back in a bad offense that was a rookie? I don't know. Look at Bishop Sankey, first of all, what he did last year. In Tennessee, when he was being drafted as an RB2, he certainly didn't produce that. So I think Yeldon might go down that path. Maybe in the future as a dynasty pick, he could be okay. I still don't love him in dynasty leagues because I still don't like that Jacksonville offense for the future. But even so, in a redraft league, I don't like him. A low-end RB3, I have him at 30. So, all right, now moving on to 31 through 40 here. Guys you can take in your RB3, RB4 range. We've got Giovanni Bernard at 31, 32 Chris Ivory, 33 Doug Martin, 34 Isaiah Crowell, 35 Ryan Matthews, 36 Trey Mason, Bishop Sankey at 37, 38 Shane Vereen, 39 David Cobb, and 40 Duke Johnson. So at 33 we have Doug Martin. What do you think of Doug Martin?
We both love Doug Martin. We both have him at number 33. I think he's going to be the best value pick probably in the draft, because he's going in 8th, 9th round.
Yeah.
So I think that if you could get Doug Martin that late, a guy who was in the top 10 3 years ago, the only question is his injuries, but I think that he'll be fine. I think that he could end up being the starting running back in Tampa Bay just because of how good of talent, how much talent he has, and I think that offense will be much better. And I think that if he's there, I'm taking him if it's a good value for him, because I just think this guy's gonna have a monster year if he gets the touches that he deserves.
Yeah, I agree. I love Doug Martin. I'm targeting him in every draft I have in the 8th, 9th round because he's filling an RB3, RB4 range. His potential is through the roof. I mean, as you said, 3 years ago he was a top 10 running back. I think the question for him is whether or not he can keep Charles Sims behind him in that second RB role, because last year he was injured a lot, so you never knew what he was going to do when he was going to be on the field. I mean, Tampa Bay was terrible last year, so I just think that Doug Martin now, hopefully staying on the field for a full 16 games, I love him. I have him at 33, so he's a great value. All right, and then the final guy we'll talk about is Shane Vereen, the New York Giants running back.
Shane Vereen, why would you leave New England? You just put yourself in a worse situation, because they got 3 good running backs, including you. They got Rashard Jennings, and they got Andre Williams. I think Shane Vereen is going to have a flex type of year at best. I don't think he'll get the touchdowns at all unless it's catching the football. I don't think he'll rush for maybe 2 touchdowns this year. So I'm looking for him to digress. I have him at number 39 in my ranking, and combined we have him at number 38. I think that he'll be lucky to crack top 40 because I don't think he'll be on the field that much unless he's catching the ball.
Yeah, I think his ceiling and his floor are really similar. I'll tell you why. So I think his ceiling is at best RB2. That's what he's done all of his career when he's been in New England. But his floor is also pretty high too, I would say, within the top 40 at running back. So with him, I have him at 36. And they brought him in for a reason. There's no way they brought Shane Vereen in to be just a backup running back to Rashad and Andre Williams. He'll be out there on 3rd down. So I just think that in a better offense, comparatively to last year with the Giants, with getting Cruz back and Beckham, there's way more options, and I think he'll have a lot of space to run, especially now. When you look at New England, they really had LaFell and Edelman and Gronk. It was really Edelman and Gronk, though, most of the time, but now the Giants have like 3 or 4 guys who are willing pass catchers. Yeah, so that'll wrap up our July-August version of our running back rankings. You guys can check out, go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more rankings in the future, as well as like and comment if you guys, go ahead and comment. You guys disagree, we'd love to see what people think. So, thanks for watching, folks.